Ora passo la parola alla dottoressa Sandra Saldagna. È una storica dell'arte e professoressa anche all'Università di Coimbra ed è direttore del Segretariato Nazionale per i Beni Culturali della Chiesa della Conferenza Episcopale Portoghese, nonché membro del Consiglio Nazionale della Cultura nella sezione Patrimonio architettonico e archeologico e museale e della conservazione e del restauro. A lei abbiamo chiesto un intervento sul ruolo che può avere la comunità cristiana nella tutela, nella conservazione e soprattutto nella valorizzazione del patrimonio culturale attraverso l'esperienza in Portogallo che lei conosce molto bene. Prego.
Grazie. I apologize my presentation in English, but you would not understand my Italian, so I speak in English. I begin by thanking the invitation and the opportunity to present the Portuguese experience in this particular area, the training of agents and community involvement. The growing acknowledgement of the importance of protecting and valuing the ecclesiastical heritage has become apparent in latest years in the implementation of structural measures and more attention that is given to the training of the different agents involved. Thank you. In spite of all efforts to create a new dynamic within the services to consolidate projects or to suggest new procedures, this is nevertheless a very recent reality. Until recently, works regarding the cultural heritage often lacked at a solid strategy and standardized practices. In Portugal, there are numerous diocesan structures that value this area as a fundamental aspect of their intent to extend and broaden their pastoral work to a larger part of the society. In keeping with this approach, we have reorganized departments, allocated services, and highly qualified professionals to these efforts. Like never before, we witness now a clear movement towards the consolidation of projects headed by experts and implemented by skilled technicians. This has resulted in a proliferation of careful interventions promoting research and a wide dissemination of information regarding cultural heritage. Asked here to share about the Portuguese experience regarding the training of agents and community involvement, I would start by evoking the very simple but assertive words of St. John Paul II on the importance of the ecclesiastical heritage. It is also necessary to shed greater light on the pastoral meaning of this commitment, so that it may be perceived by the contemporary world, by believers and non-believers. To this end, it is appropriate to encourage periods of formations in the communities for all those interested, so that the cultural heritage may be fully appreciated in cultural and catechetical fields. In Portugal, this is a field of action that assumed itself as a priority and as one of the main challenges regarding the cultural heritage, extended into multiple areas of intervention in order to embrace its numerous and diverse actors. But which areas, with which actors, and with what purpose in mind? The ground force focused primarily on the preparation of local communities to eliminate within each parish any training shortcomings in those people dealing with religious heritage, promoting an active involvement in the protection and valuing of this heritage. This effort has also been extended to the people entrusted with the mission of implementing structuring measures on each territory, namely the pastoral agents, professionals, and other experts working with heritage or culture. I would like now to highlight some examples of the Portuguese experience regarding the training of operators and community involvement within the scope of the safeguard and fruition of the ecclesiastical cultural heritage. Domain that encompasses multiple valencies that should be encouraged. I start by releasing a group of actions aimed at pastoral valuing essential to the Church's mission. Considering the fundamental purpose of this heritage, the main objective of these actions is to reinforce the meaning of different artistic expressions and their role in further enhancing the pastoral mission associated to them. In fact, in order to allow heritage to be used as an instrument of Church's action and of growing faith, when most understand its purpose. Decipher this legacy, therefore, means to perpetuate their evangelic dimension. The need to interpret this heritage, whether it's a building, a tradition, or a work of art, irreplaceable in the mission of the Church, a factor that, even within secularized societies, plays a key role in enabling fruition, a concrete and beneficial appearance to the historical memory of Christianity. How to visit a church is the theme of an important event created to redefine visits to Catholic temples, considering the growing significance of religious heritage as a unique source of cultural fruition and one of the main touristic resources worldwide. The lack of a strategy in this field has prompted numerous recommendations regarding the specialized training of all agents involved in organizing tours to Catholic temples. This event explores the specificity of this type of heritage, providing further context and incorporating it in a broader interpretation program. This is not only adds value and enhances the experience, but also contributes to the eradication of superficial approaches, unfortunately widespread and opposed to the purpose and mission of these institutions. It is true that the temple aren't museums per se, and the value and significance of the heritage are much more than a work of art in a museum. Only in their natural context to reach their purposefulness. That is the key that allows us to read an object and its function and makes it possible to offer dynamic experience to the visitor, highlighting the various valencies of the work of art, encouraging people to appreciate the transmission and experience of faith. In essence, putting into context both of the discourse and the beauty of the works according to their purpose, are fundamental requirements one should offer anyone who visits a church. The visitors should be able to understand the essence of this heritage, should know how to read the space, and be captivated by the beauty of the Christian art, discovering the message contained in each monument and its works. In keeping with this notion, the training programs on Christian iconography are also important to a more adequate understanding and interpretation of the work of art, an essential teaching tool to the different professionals working with inventory or in the tourism industry. This program's applicability can be witnessed firsthand on the conference tours Review Christian Art. Targeting a wide range of audiences. Here, the specific heritage of a church is addressed in a comprehensive tour that can be adjusted to different temples according to each temple's specificity. These tours constitute a permanent training instrument and an unlimited resource of cultural fruition, offering a new look upon religious art as an expression of faith integrating its liturgical purpose. By decoding the message present in each work, which complements the material analysis, these tours provide an immersive, in-context approach rooted on the very essence of the religious experience as a part of a wider communication program that includes the iconographic interpretation as a factor that adds value and enhances the visit to a Catholic temple. Materializing some of these objectives, a guide for the interpretation of religious heritage has been created. The main purpose of this guide is to define and consolidate good practices regarding the interpretation of ecclesiastical heritage. It offers useful information to professionals and ecclesial agents promoting the interpretation of these resources so as to offer an enhanced tour experience where they can be fully perceived by the audience. To fulfill the ultimate goal of involving the different sectors of society by promoting dialogue between institutions, ecclesial and civil, public or private, increasing resources and synergies, Portugal has declared 18 October, St. Luke's Day, patron of the artists, National Day of Ecclesiastical Cultural Heritage. This initiative promotes reflection and the sharing of all work developed within Portuguese dioceses in parallel with the discussion of new operative proposals, difficulties, and other challenges. Allowing a better visibility for a wider range of people, both from the ecclesial work and different other backgrounds, in an effort to extend these actions to the entire country, which is achieved by enabling more communication opportunities between institutions in the field. The duty of making its knowledge and fruition a reality in a cultural dialogue constitutes also to the Church a pastoral dialogue. People are argued to promote a new look upon religious art as an expression of worship rooted in the very essence of the religious experience. A wide range of institutions adhere to this event each year by programming dozens of activities focused on the valuing and the interpretation of Christian art. A vast offer of conferences, exhibitions, book launches, presentations, guided tours, concerts, amongst other events involving religious art, libraries, and archives, or immaterial heritage dominate the cultural program on these days. I would also like to emphasize within the scope of the training programs and involvement of communities a number of more technical measures, namely in the field of inventory, preventive conservation and restoration of cultural heritage in Portugal. The increasing efforts to qualify inventory projects in Portugal has proven to be an imperative tool on the overall process of protecting and valuing religious heritage. In this sense, we offer a wide range of training options that could address multiple needs, focusing specially on the inventory of cultural heritage. We support different initiatives with practical approaches that include the recognition of techniques, the identification of materials, and the adoption of accurate terminology. Our program, based on the use of analysis, identification, and interpretation methodologies, encourages trainees to formulate questions, judgments of quality and value. This helps them develop the required catalog and classification skills. The comprehensiveness of this program, the way it addresses all dimensions of the inventory work, was specifically designed to qualify professionals who can deal with the distinctive qualities of ecclesiastical cultural heritage. The effort of standardized methodologies and procedures resulted in a conjoined effort with various dioceses to produce a handbook of procedures for inventory, focusing specially on ecclesial heritage. Preventive conservation has also been one of our core approaches for quite some time, namely through courses aimed at local communities in close conjunction with the different services. We're aware that the responsibility for protecting this heritage befalls on its most direct guardians. Initiatives implemented through the country try to address the most pressing situations regarding this area. The analysis of practical cases using straightforward language aimed at non-professional audiences, provide basic diagnostic and maintenance instructions, as well as very simple recommendations and basic principles regarding conservation. These procedures can all be easily incorporated into the daily routines of parishes. They are aimed at all the people who are in permanent contact with the artistic heritage of churches, either in managing or maintaining tasks, priests, volunteers, finance commissions, etc., as well as supervisors, technical personnel, and staff members operating through the different areas related with this heritage. Conservation and restoration, particularly an activity performed by qualified personnel only, has also been for quite a long time both a priority and one of our most complex fields of action in Portugal. There are numerous challenges associated to this area in our country: inadequate procedures, harmful interventions, and lack of appropriate technical monitoring, to name a few. The critical relevance that underlies the act of sharing and promoting good practices should also be put to work in order to address the need to educate the public and raise awareness in communities. With this view, technical conservation and restoration seminars are regularly organized in concert with diocesan services. In these seminars, the actual requalification and conservation work developed in each region is fully discussed, as are the procedures used and the good practices. These aspects aren't always perceptible and understood by the lay public. On the other hand, by acknowledging the need to invest in knowledge, namely through studies and initiatives held by academic institutions, we reinforce our commitment to reconciling the critical mass provided by arts, history, iconography, or conservation with the work of pastoral agents. The accord between church and science, however, which is essential to the process of communication, sharing, and fruition of the ecclesial heritage, has not yet been fully reached in Portugal. Not only due to difficult communication and access to the works, but mainly because of the underuse of results, which should be extremely beneficial to church. On the contrary, dubious publications which totally lack critical mass are still frequent and bring nothing to the communities that enjoy that heritage. An adequate knowledge-based ground force in profound learning process such as theology, liturgy, or iconology is of the utmost importance. However, institutions haven't yet fully realized how fundamental it is. There is still a perplexing omission towards a mass of work typically discarded as restricted to the closed circuit of academia. This is where a mistake begins. A professional can effectively communicate with any type of audience based on a solid arguments and knowledge. By opening new roads and divulging information, they're also adding value to their own field of study, to the importance of safeguarding and cherishing heritage. I can even argue that we are currently wasting the scientific return of such a process, where knowledge could be converted into tangible objectives based on years of work and qualified projects. The goal is, therefore, to sublimate this knowledge into more information and better information on heritage. This could be achieved through partnerships, scientific and editorial projects, and a more profound level or regarding the production of informative and promotional material. In short, Far from turning all this into a new cultural industry of superfluous consumption, I will end by quoting once more the words of St. John Paul II. Church cannot fail to carry out the ministry of helping contemporary men to re-experience religious wonder at the fascination of beauty and wisdom stemming from all that history given us. The sole purpose of all initiatives in this field and their adjustment to reality is none other than to accentuate the fundamental announcement, Jesus Christ yesterday, today, and forever. This is a passionate journey. It's now in our hands to fully take advantage of all this potential. Thank you very much.